Hey guys, this is Joe with Unity Code Tutorials. Welcome to tutorial number 19. I noticed something that I didn't notice before, and I'm going to show you how I fixed it real quick. So what was happening is I'm going to go ahead and just play this game real quick. So the tank is rotating. Now this number is the angle between where the turret currently is and the target. And as you can see now, it gets all the way down to where it needs to be, so it's going to be a dead shot to the turret. That's what we want. Let me show you the code here though of what was going on. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, we're on the tank. So what was happening, this is the other code before. It was checking the angle and making sure it was less than or equal to 0.05. And that wasn't happening. It was getting down to like 0.2. Now sometimes it was working, sometimes it wasn't. If you've been following this series, you know that it's been working. But I just reopened the project, noticed that it wasn't working. So I found a better solution. So all I do is I created this float up here, last frame angle, used for rotating turret towards the target. And now we just do that, okay? So if we're not locked on yet, as we know, it does the rotation. It rotates a little closer based on the speed towards the target. And then it's going to check to see if is the last frame. So this is the first iteration. The last frame is going to be equal to 0, right? So then it's going to come down here, set the last frame angle equal to the angle between the cannon and the target. So now we have a baseline. If we're already there, then that means the next frame when it runs this code, if we're already pointing at the target, it's not going to move at all. So then we can check right here, okay, what we had last frame, is it the same as we have this frame? And if that's true, then we're locked on. And that's a surefire way to go. We're not worrying about a number that it may or may not actually get to. Now why didn't it get to that value? I'm not sure. I feel like it should have. It might be one of those floating point issues where when you're dealing with floats, sometimes the accuracy isn't 100% for various different reasons. But the important thing is it works now, so I just wanted to point that out. And as you saw, we just tested it. It works now, which is awesome. Okay, so what we want to do next in this game is we want to make the new turret appear. So, of course, if we play our game and hit the C key, it changes which type of projectile we're shooting. So if we hit the F, shoot, change it to new turret, right? We started this, we didn't actually do anything with it yet. Those new turret projectiles, we wanted to create a new turret where it hits the ground, which is an important point. It needs to be able to hit the ground, so we need to use gravity, right? So let's at least use that part. Okay? So we change it. Now, okay, it's going to hit the ground. There's our first step right there. Now, have we made a script for it? Right, it's been a little bit since I've been in this project, so I just have to see what assets we actually have and then figure out what we need to make. So it looks like we do not have a script for this yet. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a C# script and call it new turret. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and do that, but this projectile script, is it possible that we could use the same one? I believe it is. I'm sorry, you guys. I think that's the way I had it set up. Okay. New turret projectile. I need to get with it. So we have which type it is. Wow. Okay. Never mind. That's a good example of what we're not going to do. Let's open the projectile script. We set the type in here. And we haven't done anything with it yet based on the type, right? If I go here and find the references, it checks it. The tank will check it. This is a good example. The reason I did this, I'm just going to run with this. The reason I did this is if you come back to a project, you need to figure out again, what exactly did I do here? Find the reference, go to where it's referenced, figure out what's going on, right? So this is when tank gets hit if the projectile is normal. That's why when I shoot the other type, it's not going to blow the tank up. It needs to hit the ground. That's what we're going with here. Okay, so the projectile has a type. So we want the projectile when it hits the ground to create a new turret. So here's what we want to do. I'm going to go back to the scene, select the ground, selected the canvas somehow. We want to tag the ground. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and add a tag here, ground, which is great. Select the ground, keep hitting the canvas, select the ground, set the tag to ground, and now we can listen for that in our projectile script, right? So let's actually, let's put it right here. We're going to go private void OnCollisionEnter. It's going to be a collision. The projectile is not. But we'll double check that real quick. You would want to see, okay, a new turret projectile, the one that creates a new turret, is it a trigger? Now how do we do that? We come here, look at the collider, it's not a trigger. Okay. So come back here, OnCollisionEnter. Collider other, that's just generally what you do for that. And now, when we get to this point, we're going to check, is it the ground that we hit? If it's not the ground, we're not going to do anything. We're going to keep it simple. We can make it more specific later, if we need to. Right now, we're just going to say, okay, if other.tag equals ground, we can just go ahead and log out, hit ground. That can be our first step right there. So, if we hit the ground, what do we want to happen? We want to create a new turret, right? So we're going to have to come up here. We have an explosion object for when if the projectile explodes. We also need new turret to spawn. Right? So if this happens, let's start by just getting the turret to spawn. So instantiate new turret, right? Where are we at right now? We're gonna have to create a new vector 3 because we want it to appear right in the ground. So where's this turret at? If we look at how high it is. It's 0.79, right? That's where it is on the ground. I'm kind of wondering why not just make it 0. That's why. No, based on the pivot point. That's where we had it. Never mind. Okay. 0.79. So that's how high we want it. Now the x and z, this way and that way, that's what we're really concerned with here. So what we're going to do is create a new vector 3. Where do we want on the x? Position.x. Where the projectile is, that's where we want it on the x. Now the y, 0.79f. That's how high we want it. And then z is based on where this projectile is. So that's where we want to instantiate the turret. Okay? And close all the parentheses. Okay. So, once we do that, we'll blow up the turret, right? So, destroy. Now, here's the thing. Where is this called from? We can see real quick. Normally it's called by the tank. Seems kind of odd, doesn't it? Who wrote this code? Did I write this code? That just seems kind of odd. You know. Oh, you know what it was? It's because we wanted to make sure the tank got, from the projectile how many hit points it needs to take away before we moved on. So that's why, right? That's okay. We're learning. So sometimes we have to go back and figure out what the heck we did before. Right? In this case, we're done after this. This projectile can die. So we can just, from right here, call destroy projectile. That's all that really needs to go into that. Now you can develop your own way of doing it. If you want to always call this from somewhere else. It might be a good idea, depending on how big the game is. This is a rather simple game, so I don't think it's not going to matter too much, but you do want to learn how to do it the way is comfortable for you. So, that being said, this is the way I'm doing it for now. It works, or should work. We're going to check it out, see if it works. So it should create a turret. After we get, okay, let's see. Usually we can just go here and be able to figure out what it is. Okay, we didn't put a rotation in there. Gotta put the quaternion in there. That's big, right? What was that script error about? I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's just like a mid-compile thing or something. I don't know. If that ever happens. Maybe it's not collide or other on OnCollisionEnter. It is, isn't it? On OnCollisionEnter. Collision. That's what it is. Collide or other is for when we do triggers. Collision. Okay. So we can do collision dot transform dot tag. Let's take a look. Transform the object we hit. Now we need to do some assigning, right? We need to look in our new projectile, our new turret projectile, and it wants to know, okay, what new turret are we going to spawn? Now this is also prefab, so we come here, take this, put it in here as the new turret. We should be good. We're going to go ahead and save the project. Save the scene. Oh, we didn't do anything. We're just going to... Now before I do this, let's go ahead and kill the enemy manager real quick. Oh, that's another thing. I also noticed when I opened up the project that the tank here had the wrong thing set for the cannon. So cannon root is what we want. I had it set to cannon down here. That must have been something I did willy-nilly without testing it. So it was rotating the wrong thing. So just make sure it's the right thing that we're going to rotate, just in case you tested your project and that's what you noticed. We fixed that, so we're good. So now we're just going to have this one. Whoa, what's the, hitting the wrong key. Take it out before it takes me out. Okay, now we're going to hit C, we're going to change the turret type. Fire. Ooh, I like that. Now here's something kind of fun to notice. We're all going to shoot, right? Wow, that is very interesting. I'm not going to lie, I have a problem with this. Look at that. Why is it doing that? Probably by control one at a time. This is really cool. Oh, and also we're able to kill ourselves. Shoot down our own turrets, that's not what we want. So there's two problems we need to fix. And we're going to do that in the next video. So you've got to come back to see how we fix this. Now, you probably already know. You can check it out, figure it out, but we're going to come back and we're going to fix this. But that was really cool. I had a lot of fun doing that. Okay, well, thank you for coming back to watch the 19th video, and we'll be back with the 20th video shortly. So, until then...